Rebekah Brooks married an East Ender and then a country gent, and counted prime ministers as friends and confidants, regardless of political persuasion.
Hello, William.
How are you?
Even royal princes got Rebekah. But it's her relationship with another man that saw her rise to being the most powerful woman in British media, and a paid-up member of the Chipping Norton set, a clique of the rich and famous with bolt holes nestled in the Cotswold countryside. And it was at her wedding reception here at this country estate just down the road from Chipping Norton where you got a real glimpse into the extent of the power and influence wielded by Rebekah Brooks, the sheer number of friends in high places. On the guest list there were 2 prime ministers, a fair chunk of the Murdoch clan including Rupert himself, who flew in especially for it, a handful of captains of industry and around 200 other movers and shakers. But it wasn't always like this for Rebekah Brooks. It was 1988 when Fleet Street veteran Charlie Ray set a young, green 20-year-old Rebekah Wade, as she was then, on her way in national newspapers.
She was a very young, naive girl who came into the office, clearly had ambition, clearly was intelligent, and had said, I want to be a journalist. Now, my job, if you like, in that case is, well, I'll point you in a direction. I can't do these sort of things for her. So I liked her. I liked her right at the start. She was quite fun.
Within weeks, Miss Wade had a job at the News of the World. 6 years later, she was deputy editor. At 31, she was the boss. Rupert Murdoch had decided his tabloids needed a fresh approach. Rebekah Wade, her soon-to-be deputy and lover, Andy Coulson, and another young editor, Piers Morgan, was seen as the future.
They were the bright young things of Fleet Street and were seen to be that. They came through at a time, I think, where there was a deliberate decision to try to change the direction and the mood of how those papers operated. That's the Sun, the News of the World, and of course the Daily Mirror, which is where Piers ended up. And there was a conscious decision by Rupert Murdoch that he wanted change.
So that's rightly named and shamed. All 110,000.
Rebekah Brooks and Andy Coulson may have shared a newsroom, a dock at the Old Bailey, and as we now know, a bed, but they were very different editors. Lance Price was one of Tony Blair's spin doctors when he was Prime Minister, and Mrs Brooks was a regular visitor.
Rebekah Brooks has always been one of the very best networkers in that world of politics and media where the two combine. She's always kept close to Prime Ministers of whatever party they were. I worked for a Labour Prime Minister. She was in and out of Downing Street all the time. And she was good enough at her job to have the same sort of relationship with David Cameron when he became a Conservative Prime Minister.
Andy Coulson spent even more time at Downing Street, giving old Etonian David Cameron the common touch he needed to run the country.
Andy Coulson came from a council house. If you talk to people in politics, even now, they will say that to this day, forget the phone hacking, Cameron misses Andy Coulson's understanding of real people who are outside of Cameron's world.
But it was phone hacking that brought both Coulson and Brooks down and ultimately closed the newspaper they both edited, and which was owned and run by the man who used to treat Rebekah as a fifth daughter, part of the family. With her acquittal at the Old Bailey, will he now bring her back into the family business? David Bowden, Sky News.